Hello, good morning, good afternoon, happy lunchtime, depending on where you're coming in from. Thank you for joining me today. I'm excited about doing this session today because we are going to build your employer value proposition in just 30 minutes. Something that we've talked a lot about across the education sphere. I know it's been a big part of Coupa HR for HR leaders and talking about how do they really position themselves to attract top talent. So with that, let's get started. My name is Marissa Murphy-Becerra, and I'm an executive advisor here at NeoEd, and I have the honor of working with educational institutions just like yours to optimize their talent acquisition, their onboarding, and their overall employee experiences. And today we're going to have a working session where we're actually going to dig in and do some work. We're not just going to talk about theory or abstract ideas because I know that your time is valuable. So our explicit goal today is that you leave this webinar with a solid framework of how to draft your employer value proposition. And I say framework because an EVP is not something that you or HR owns alone. This is a collection of information about your employee's experience. So if you haven't already, make sure you have the employer value proposition worksheet open or printed or a Word doc or pen and paper in front of you. If you don't, that's okay, but it's going to work best if you do. Document it in any sort of way that you can. All right, let's get to work. Actually, before we get to work, and while you grab that paper, worksheet, or document that you're going to type into, let me tell you what we're going to go over today. First, we're going to define what is an employer value proposition, why it matters, and what you're going to do is start working on an EVP that matters to you and to your institution about what builds a good EVP. All right, let's go. So first, let's define what an employer value proposition is. Or short, everybody loves an acronym. What is an EVP? Simply put, it's a clear and concise statement that summarizes the unique benefits an employee receives in return for their skills and contributions at your institution. Think of it as an absolute definitive answer to the candidate's question of why here? Why your institution? Why would a highly qualified professor or an IT professional or an administrative staff member choose to work for your institution over another college or university in the next county or the next state, or maybe even another public sector or private sector entity? We're going to answer those questions today. So the reality is, as all of you know, or many of you know, that educational institutions really struggle to attract that top tier talent right now. Why is that? Well, there's a number of reasons, right? First, it's incredibly hard to stand out. Stand out in compensation, especially against the private sector. Stand out in regards to other institutions or other roles at other institutions, especially if your job descriptions aren't visible. They have to go directly to your website to find them. They're not compelling, or maybe even they look identical to everyone else's job descriptions. You're easily viewed as a commodity and not necessarily something special. Another reason why it's hard for us to stand out is because the messaging isn't always consistent. On the website or the career site, HR spent a lot of time finding the right words to describe things, but then maybe a hiring manager says it a different way in an interview, or the job posting says it completely different. And perhaps worst of all is none of that messaging is actually reflective of the reality in the workplace. And then finally, candidates don't ultimately understand their impact. They see a list of bulleted tasks in a job description, things like must lift 15 pounds and stand for long periods or have knowledge of X, Y, and Z, but they don't really see how their work transforms students' lives or supports the community. So this is where an employer value proposition comes in. When you don't have a clear message defining your employer value, it leads to three distinct roadblocks. Can't attract the candidates that are the right fit for your campus culture. You lose top tier candidates to faster, clearer competitors who paint a better picture of their employee experience. And ultimately, it weakens your overall employer brand. So a strong, clear EVP fixes this by taking your organization's your day-to-day culture, and your unique benefits and packages them up into a compelling guide for everything that you do. So let's take a look at the employer value proposition. Here's our game plan. We're going to follow that worksheet directly. If you don't have the worksheet in front of you, all of the prompts will be on the slides in front of you. You can write them down or type them into a document as well. Then we'll walk through the core sections together and we'll look at a live example of a fictitious institution and build an employer value proposition in real time. And you'll write down your responses to segments as we go. I want to reinforce one thing. This is a working session, but this is not a final draft. This is your first draft. Don't get stuck on trying to find the most perfect and poetic word. Keep it simple, keep it honest, and focus on what matters to your employees. You can refine and polish the language later, and you're going to have to ask for other people's understanding and how they feel too, because this is about your whole institution. It's not just about you. All right, let's go on to the foundations. So section 1 in our worksheet is foundations. And this is the bedrock of any educational institution. It's your mission, your purpose, and impact. So the first prompt on our worksheet is, what is your institution's core mission? What are you actually working towards? And what's the real world impact of your work? So let's see how this works. We're going to look at our fictitious organization, Central Community College. And if we were building an EVP for Central Community College, their mission response might be something like, we provide accessible education while supporting both student success and campus-wide collaboration. And then later we'll plug this into our master template. And we'll see that the very first sentence becomes something like, at Central Community College, we're dedicated to making a difference in the lives of our students. All right, so now it's your turn. I'm going to get out my handy dandy timer, and we're going to look at section 1 of your worksheet. Write down 1 to 2 simple phrases that start with this question: what's your institution's core mission? And then pick a couple phrases that focus on that. Focus on the real impact of what you do and how you improve people's lives or support your community or your faculty or your students. And I'll give you about 30 seconds of quiet time to write that down. Okay, let's go. All right. I feel like I should be playing the Jeopardy song while we do that. Da-na-na-na. I don't know. Um, Before we move to our next section, I forgot to mention the chat and the Q&A boxes. I have my teammate Rebecca in the background, as well as my teammate Joe in the background. If you have questions or you want to interact, or you want to pop some of the things that you thought about your mission, your institution's core missions, please feel free to put them in the chat. It's a little message box that's on your screen. Or if you have questions for us, feel free to submit them in the Q&A, and we'll be manning those on the back end. Okay. All right, next, let's move to the next layer of our foundation, which is our culture and our environment. What 3 words best describe your institution's culture? If you ask current staff to describe their day-to-day work environment, what would they say? Be honest, And if you're giggling right now, if what comes to mind isn't exactly what you think will lure people to your institution, this is actually great information. And it's an opportunity to start exploring how you could start changing that. But for right now, I'm going to assume positive intent and positive outcome, and we're going to look at our fictitious organization, Central Community College. And for their culture words, they've chosen collaborative, supported, and student focused. So when we connect their day-to-day environment to the culture and the employee experience, our second building block sentence becomes something like this. We prioritize creating a culture and a collaborative work environment where your skills and your ideas support student success and campus growth. Notice how this statement connects what the employee does, their skills and their ideas, directly to the outcome, student success and campus growth. It's your turn again. So look at the culture prompt on your worksheet, this second one here on the screen, and jot down 3 honest words that describe your environment right now, and write a quick sentence about what it feels like to work at your campus day to day. Ready, set, go. All right. Now let's look at the third question on this screen and consider your institution's external environment. What is your institution known for in the community or in a larger context? And what purpose do people associate with your institution? Think about your reputation. When a local resident or a business owner or a student or prospective student hears the name of your school, what do they instantly think of? And what reputation does your institution hold? What positive things do people associate with your daily work? And understanding how the outside world views you is incredibly important when framing your prospective value to candidates. So let's look at Central Community College. They answered this prompt with, our institution is focused on student success and community impact. So when you integrate your reputation into your employer value proposition, it does something really powerful. It validates your institution's credibility. It tells candidates that if they join your team, they're not just taking a job, they're stepping into a highly respected, trusted organization that carries a real weight and makes a visible impact on the surrounding community. Your turn again. Go ahead and write down a few words or some short phrases summarizing your impact on the community. So, this one down here, and what you're most proud of being known for. Again, I'm going to give you 30 seconds just to quickly jot down some ideas. Ready? Go. All right. Ready to move on? I know it may be tight and really short, but at least you're getting something started, right? So let's move into the next set of our foundational building blocks on your worksheet, your core values and your vision for the future. These are two of my favorites. Look at the next prompt. What are your institution's core values, which are these deeply held principles that guide how your staff operates day to day and how you treat your fellow colleagues and your students and how your leadership makes decisions? Our running example, Central Community College, when looking at their culture and their core values, they included inclusion, diversity, and innovation. So when you're identifying your own values, keep them grounded in reality. Don't just look for generic buzzwords because they look nice on a poster or something like that. Choose the values that current employees genuinely see in action by leaders, by faculty, by staff, and all divisions at all levels of the institution throughout the workplace every day. And then right below that is the next question. It's what's your vision for the future? Where's your institution actually headed? And what are you working for over the next few years? Top talent today wants to join an institution or an organization that's really moving forward, that's not standing still. So for Central Community College, their vision is expanding access to education while supporting long term student success and community impact. By pairing these two pieces together, you'll be able to show candidates both who you are already and the exciting future that they get to be a part of when they join your team. So it's your 30 seconds now. Go ahead and look at your worksheet or write down 2 to 3 core values that represent the true heart of your institution and jot down a quick phrase about where your campus is headed for the future. Ready? Go. Right. I know that was fast. Let's go on to the next slide. It's like speed dating, but speed EVP, right? The next one is opportunities and impact. So, what unique opportunities do you offer your employees? How do you help them grow professionally? How do you support that growth? Is there what is there that helps you think about career development or mentorship or stable employment, upskilling, even comprehensive benefits? So for Central Community College, their response to this prompt was stable employment with comprehensive benefits and ongoing opportunities to learn and to grow in your career. And then we're done. We're going to put that together directly into our template. And our third sentence would read, we offer stable employment with comprehensive benefits and ongoing opportunities to learn and grow in your career. It's important that in this sentence, when you talk about unique opportunities, you include both tangible benefits like stability and healthcare packages, maybe tuition reimbursement or tuition discounts for yourself or your family, and also those intangible opportunities like cross campus collaboration, leadership pathways, opportunities to grow. Your turn again. Take 2 to 3 minutes and take not 2 to 3 minutes, 30 seconds, but 2 to 3 opportunities that identify the benefits at your workplace. What keeps people at your institutions long term? And write those down now. All right. Moving on to the second prompt on the screen and the next question on our worksheet. It gets to the heart of what we do. How does your institution's work make a difference? What's the real tangible impact of what you do? How do you support students in their academic journeys or empower the faculty to teach effectively or uplift your broader community? Top talent today, especially in education, want to know that their daily efforts matter and contribute to something bigger than just a paycheck. So let's take our example of Central Community College. They looked at their deeper purpose and they defined their impact as we're supporting student success, campus growth, and long term community impact. When we use this, we show candidates that there's profound meaning behind their work, and it directly informs their frame of their how we frame their role. It tells that candidate your skills and ideas aren't just completing tasks. They're directly driving our students' success and our community growth. And when we link that together, the ripple effect keeps rippling. So it's your turn again. Take a moment to write down 2 to 3 specific ways that your institution transforms lives and strengthens your local community. What's the true footprint of your school and what they leave behind? Ready? 30 seconds starts now. All right, we're going to move on. So now we're going to put some real world application and proof to the work. So think about what sort of recent projects showcase the impact that your organization or institution has had. When you're defining your real value to job seekers, abstract goals are great, but concrete examples of what you've done truly stick in a candidate's mind. So think about the last year or two on your campus and a specific program or initiative or project that demonstrates your institution's work in action. So for Central Community College, they looked at their recent highlights and they identified a standout initiative as this partnership program that they created, which connected students to local career pathways. By writing this down, they have immediate proof to back up their claims. So when a recruiter or a hiring manager uses this in an interview, they don't just say, we care about student success. Instead, they say, we care about student success. For example, we just launched this career workforce partnership that directly connects our graduating students with local career pathways. Candidates love specifics. It shows them that your mission isn't just words, but it's an active, living commitment. So now it's your turn again. Pick 1 or 2 recent initiatives or projects that showcase your institution's best work and their biggest impact, or a significant one, and then write down the name of that project and some quick bullet points about the positive impact that it made. I'll give you 30 more seconds starting now. All right. Skipping on to the second block on this screen, we're going to turn to what makes your institution different from other employers. This is where we look at unique differentiators. We're all competing for talent, whether it's against another educational institution, a public sector entity, or a private sector corporate sponsor, corporate organization. You need to know what your special sauce is so you can draw talent in. Why would someone choose your institution and the rhythm and the environment of your campus over a corporate office and over ping pong tables? So, the way that Central Community College answered this is we are a mission driven environment where employees support student success and community impact. And it's a fantastic differentiator because corporate competitors can offer a lot of things, but they often struggle to offer true daily civic educational meaning. which are among some of the top 5 things, according to Gallup, that job seekers are looking for in work today. By highlighting that you're a mission driven environment, you instantly signal to candidates that their work will mean more, something more here. And you're appealing directly to that purpose driven talent who want to make and see the immediate fruits of their labor in student success and community growth. So, your turn again. Take a look at your own worksheet or here on the screen and tell us what sets your workplace apart from the standard corporate employer or other local organizations. Jot down a quick phrase or bullet point, and I'll give you 30 seconds of quiet time. Go ahead. All right. Last question in this section, and the last before we put everything together. And it's actually one of my favorite questions, too. How do your employees grow professionally, and how do you support this growth? Think about the long term development once they're through your door. Do you offer tuition assistance, career pathways for upward mobility, cross training? Top talent, especially in education, is looking for a career, not just a static job. And they want to know that you're willing to invest in them and their future. Once again, let's look at our Central Community College, our example institution, and they came up with ongoing learning opportunities, mentorship, and cross campus collaboration. By highlighting things like mentorship and cross campus collaboration, you show candidates that growth just isn't about taking a formal class online, it's about building into the daily fabric of your campus and how it operates. It proves that working at your institution will actively expand their networks, challenge their skills, and help them progress as professionals and personally too. I love the professional growth question. I love the professional growth question, and it actually reminds me of an article I read, Room to Grow, Stretching Towards Potential. And it said, a job should never be a destination, it should be a vehicle. When you give an employee room to grow, you're making a profound statement that I believe your future is bigger than your current role. When you stretch someone towards your potential, you aren't just upskilling them, you're investing in their identity and you're telling them that the institution's growth and their professional evolution are inextricably linked. So you've guessed it, it's your turn again. What Take some time and ask yourself, what do we do? We can't do it for just our students, we have to do it for our employees too. So look at our worksheet and say, how can we help them grow professionally? Write down 1 to 2 specific ways that you help employees' growth and development. And I'll give you your last 30 seconds for idea generation. All right. So once we've codified all of our content, we can put those building blocks together. And you can use this template as a guide. You can see here where all the creative wins come together and what the information provided for you. So you can review the template as your example, your institution's name, what you're dedicated to, the experience that you foster, the unique environment that they foster, and what being a part of our team will give to them. So take the time to build those out, and you can use our example, the employee value proposition, to guide you. I won't make you stop and do that now. I'll go on to the next screen and just let you know a few. So here's some takeaways. When you can actually draft your employer value proposition because we're running short on time by yourself, review it with others, keep it simple, refine it later, and make sure it matches exactly what your candidates and your employees experience every day. With that, I will close us off and go to Q&A, and I don't actually see any, so I'll wish everyone a great day. Thank you.